What's up, everybody? It's Jason High back here with another video. I'm going to be reacting today to the rest of the Kansas City Chiefs draft picks in the 2024 NFL Draft. All right, let's go. Here we go. So, the Chiefs, obviously, in the first round on Thursday night, drafted Xavier Worthy, wide receiver out of Texas. Super fast guy. I'm talking he ran a 4.21 40-yard dash time at the NFL Combine. That is the fastest combine time ever. So obviously you got him in the first round. You traded up a few picks to go get him. That actually made it to where the Chiefs did not have a third round pick in Friday night's draft class. So the only guy that they were able to get in Friday night was the second round pick, Kingsley Suamataia. No, I said that wrong. Suamataia. There it is. All right, I'm going to get it right one of these days. But yes, out of BYU, offensive tackle. This guy is a really exciting prospect for the Chiefs. He was ranked much higher on most people's big boards, including Mel Kiper's. And the Chiefs ended up nabbing him in the late second round. They also traded up again one spot to go get him with the San Francisco 49ers. So the Chiefs identified this guy. They really wanted this guy. And I think it was really exciting that they ended up getting away with drafting him when they did in the second round. Having that depth at offensive tackle, I think, is something the Chiefs are going to really want going into this season. I said on my video on Thursday that the Chiefs may have been looking at offensive tackle in the first round to potentially compete with Wanya Morris, who is right now the incumbent starter at left tackle, it appears, as Donovan Smith has not been re-signed yet. Donovan Smith, of course, did start most of the games for the Kansas City Chiefs last year, but did miss 4 games. And then Wanya Morris, a third-round pick in last year's NFL Draft, filled in admirably during those games, was kind of up and down. He got it done, but no one really felt like he was a star, and that the Chiefs really just needed to hand him the starting left tackle job going into this next season. So we'll see. On Thursday night, I said that I really thought the Chiefs were going to be re-signing Donovan Smith. Now I'm not so sure. I still think that they will. I still think it makes a lot of sense for them to go get him. But if you draft this offensive tackle in the second round this year and the third round last year, he got some playing time last year, you liked what you saw from him, I think that there's a good chance that the Chiefs don't actually go with Donovan Smith and they just go with the guys they have on their roster now, the young guys. We'll see, though. Andy Reid, they like having veteran offensive linemen, so we'll see. Back to the draft. Okay, so since the Chiefs did not have a third-round pick, they did not make any other picks on Friday night, so today they picked 2 guys in the 4th round, 2 players. They picked TCU tight end Jared Wiley. This guy was a 12-touchdown reception type receiver in 2 seasons playing for TCU at the Big 12. He did have first-team All-Big 12 honors this past season. I think it was really exciting to see the Chiefs go out there and get a tight end prospect who's very young, obviously. He's going to be a rookie coming into this season, as will everybody. But it's compared to Travis Kelce, everybody's young, right? And so Travis Kelce is going to be 35 years old this year, and he's still proven, obviously, last season that he can absolutely still play at an elite level when it matters most, in the postseason, in the Super Bowl. He's a stud. Everyone knows that. So, yeah, the Chiefs, however, I feel like are being smart here with going ahead and trying to go ahead and plan a little bit for the future with drafting this tight end, seeing what he can become. It's hard to say. They've kind of tried this before with Noah Gray a few years ago. He was a 5th-round pick. He kind of really hasn't panned out into a very productive player. He's been a moderately productive player, but he hasn't been a guy that I think anyone is going to feel comfortable with handing the reins over once Travis Kelce retires. So they're taking another swing here. Okay, I'm going to go kind of rapid fire here. The next guy they got out of Washington State was a safety named Jaden Hicks. Jaden Hicks was a 2-year starter at Washington State. Okay, he came out after his junior season, so he must have really felt good, obviously, about his development. Obviously, it worked out for him so far, being a 4th-round pick, rather. That is very impressive. You feel like, okay, he's got a great chance to make the roster here. So, thus far, all these draft picks, I think, are going to be locks in the roster. I think they're going to be on the roster. Interesting pick in the sense that the Chiefs do have 2 safeties coming back this next season. You've got Brian Cook coming off of an injury. He missed the later part of last season. Very good player. He was a second-round pick a few years ago, and so you feel like Bryan Cook is hopefully an ascending player. He is coming off an injury, but he looked very good the season and a half before he got hurt. And then obviously you've got Justin Reid coming back. It is the last year of Justin Reid's contract. I do think that he could be an extension candidate potentially, but I like the Chiefs picking up a safety right here as a contingency plan. All of this goes without saying, too. I got to throw out a disclaimer right now when I'm talking about whether I like these players, whether I don't like these picks. Obviously, I haven't sat down and done all of the film homework on these guys. What I'm talking about when I say I like the pick is I think it makes sense in terms of the Chiefs' current roster construction. We're not going to know if these players themselves are actually going to be productive NFL players yet. That's up to the Chiefs and their scouting department. So when I say I like a player, I typically like the position value that they got them at. So I do like getting a safety here. I would have maybe been more interested in a corner because you lost L'Jarius Sneed, but we'll get to that. They did end up picking a corner later in the draft. We'll get to him in a minute. So I do... Obviously, all of these players are fantastic football players. To make it to this point is so awesome watching these guys' reactions. Going back to Kingsley Suamataia for a second, he was you could tell when Andy Reid was talking on the phone with him, he was very emotional. Really, really cool to see. Really exciting for these guys. So we're going to keep going here with these picks. So in the 5th round, the Chiefs picked up a center named Hunter Nourzad. I believe is how you say his name. We'll learn how to say all these guys' names a little bit better. Don't worry as the season goes through and we start the season. But yeah, picking up a center out of Penn State. This guy is really interesting. He actually played throughout his collegiate career. He also played at Cornell. He played at Cornell University, then transferred to Penn State. Throughout his collegiate career, he has played guard, center, and then also offensive tackle. The last year of his collegiate career, at Penn State, he did play center. So they have him listed as a center. I think the Chiefs obviously liked him because of that positional versatility. The Chiefs always like that from their offensive linemen. They go out and sign Jawan Taylor. He's starting at right tackle. They maybe were interested in moving him to left tackle. Obviously, you've got Joe Thuney, who is a left guard, fantastic player, who's been on the Chiefs for a few years now, came over from the Patriots. He's stepped in at left tackle a couple of times to fill in for injured players. So the Chiefs really value their offensive line versatility. So I think that's why they probably went with this player. 5th round pick at a center position. I like it a lot because, again, going back to the Chiefs roster, both Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, this is going into their final year of their contracts with the Chiefs. They're going to be on the team. There's no way the Chiefs are trading these guys before the season or anything like that. They will be on the team. But, again, the Chiefs and Brett Veach typically like to plan a little bit ahead with these draft picks. I like them picking up a center in the 5th round here. We'll see what he ends up being as a player. You never know. You never know, especially this late in the draft. We're getting to the 5th round here. So you really kind of have more hit and miss players at this point. There's no guarantees, but I like the Chiefs adding young depth on that offensive line, particularly the interior offensive line, when you've got a couple of pending free agents coming up. All right, so we're going to move on to the 6th round here. The Chiefs drafted a cornerback, Kamal Hayden, out of Tennessee. All right, now we get to the Chiefs finally taking a cornerback. So, because you did trade away L'Jarius Sneed, I really felt like the Chiefs were going to hit corner in this draft. They didn't address it until the 6th round. And again, as I said for the last pick, you don't know what these players are going to end up being when you get to this late in the draft. But again, I like them going after that position. The Chiefs have shown a really good propensity for bringing in cornerbacks later in the draft, thinking Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams. You're thinking about guys like that who have come in the last 2 or 3 years, and the Chiefs have been able to plug and play these guys and not just turn them into productive NFL players, but some of them have become very good NFL players. At this point, when you're getting into the 6th round, you're more than happy to get a 3rd cornerback, to get a 4th cornerback on your roster, someone who can come in a pinch, who can play, who can come in nickel situations when you've got 4 corners on the field, who can play a little bit all over the field. You like getting guys like that. I did not look at his measurables yet, but the Chiefs typically like to draft taller, lanky type corners, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kamal Hayden falls in under that description as someone who's a little bit bigger. The Chiefs typically target those kinds of corners in the draft. All right, finally, we're going to get the final pick of the 2024 NFL draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. They picked him all the way back at 248th. So 247 players went before him. He is a guard out of Holy Cross named C.J. Hansen.